in this section we will be working with literal equations. Now, literal equations are equations containing more than one variable. Some examples of literal equations would be the volume of a cylinder, V equals pi r squared h. Or maybe the formula for simple interest, I equals PRT. Or the area of a triangle. The area is equal to 1/2 base times height. A literal equation is an equation that contains more than one variable. That is what distinguishes a literal equation from those we have worked with previously. Now what we're going to be doing is solving literal equations. And to solve a literal equation means exactly the same thing as it did when solving a regular equation. To solve a literal equation means to isolate the indicated variable. The process for solving a literal equation is going to be exactly the same as the process used when solving a regular equation. The difference is that our answer will contain the other variables. Our answer will be an algebraic expression, not a number. That is going to be the big difference when solving a literal equation compared to solving a regular equation. So take a look at example 1. For all of these problems, we're going to be solving for b. That is the variable that we want to solve for. So starting here, we have 2b equals 8. This is something familiar. This is something that we can solve. So if you think back to the process used, we have 2b equals 8. Think about how is the 2 attached to the variable? 2 times b. We want to undo that multiplication. So we're going to divide both sides by 2. And then our next step, of course, is to simplify. Over here, the 2's cancel and leave you with 1b, or just b, equals, and then you reduce what is on the right-hand side, or simplify it in any way you can. 8 divided by 2 is 4. All right, this we've done before. Now look to the right. In this section, we will have a literal equation such as a times b equals c. Now here, our instructions are to solve for b. We want to solve this for b, so the process is exactly the same. You want to ask yourself, how is everything else? How are the other variables connected or attached to b? Here we have a times b. It's multiplication. To undo multiplication, we divide. So in this case, we're going to divide both sides by a. Again, very similar to what we did over here on the left with the 2. It's just now we have a instead of 2. Now the next step is to simplify. Here the a's cancel and leave us with 1b, or just b, equals. Now over here on the right, you can try to reduce it, but there's really nothing you can do to simplify this. So our answer is going to be c over a. And that is as simplified as we can get for this problem. Now next, take a look at 5 plus b equals 9. This we've worked with. This we know how to do. We see that the 5 is connected to the b through addition. So in order to solve for b, we're going to subtract 5 from both sides. Over here, 5 minus 5 gives us 0, so we're left with just b, equals 9 minus 5. We subtract that and get 4. All right, so that is our answer here. Now over on the right, again, we have a literal equation. The process is exactly the same. You want to ask yourself, how is everything else connected to the variable that you are solving for? Here you're solving for b again. And again, it's connected by addition. So in order to solve for b, we want to subtract, in this case, a. All right, a minus a is 0. So over here, we're left with b equals c minus a. Now, c minus a, these are not like terms, so we can't combine them in any way. All we can do is write them C minus A. And that is our answer. So as you can see, the procedure is exactly the same. Our answers just look a little bit different, and you really have to keep track of the variables. So this third line here, we have 2b plus 1 equals 13. Here we have a two-step equation. And remember, two-step equation, here we have multiplication and addition, so we work with the addition first. We have plus 1. In order to get rid of that, we want to subtract 1 from both sides. On the left, we have plus 1 minus 1. That is 0, so we're left with 2b over here on the left, equals, on the right, 13 minus 1, that is 12. Now we need to work with the 2. 2 times b, to undo multiplication, you divide. So divide by 2. Do that on the other side as well. 2 divided by 2 cancels and gives you 1. So 1b, or just b, is equal to, and again, see if you can reduce or simplify on the right. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So our answer would be b is equal to 6. Now over on the right, a literal equation, but the process is exactly the same. We're solving for b. You will always be told which variable you are solving for when you're given a literal equation. So we need to look at the other variables in the equation. We have the a and we have the c. The a is connected by multiplication, the c by addition. So we want to work with the c first. Again, when solving, always work with addition and subtraction before multiplication and division. So we have plus c. To get rid of that, we want to subtract c from both sides. So I'm going to just copy down, there's my AB. Plus c minus c, those cancel out and give you 0. So I'm just going to write equals. And then over here on the right, d minus c, there's really nothing you can do to combine those except just to write them down. So d minus c. All right, now we have AB equals d minus c. We need to solve for b again. So we have a times b. To undo multiplication, we divide both sides by a. And be very careful here. You have to divide everything on the right-hand side by a. Not just the d, not just the c, everything. So over on the left, the a's cancel and leave you with 1b, or just b, equals d minus c over a. Now you could also write this, I'm just going to write or here. You can also break this up into two fractions. This is equivalent to b equals d over a minus c over a. Either one of these answers will work just fine. Now, on the rest of these examples, the problems get a little more involved, but just remember the procedure is exactly the same as what you've worked with before. So in example 2, we have 4 A, B, C, and the instructions say solve for C. So look at all the other variables and numbers in the equation, and think about how are these connected to C? How are they attached? All of them are attached by multiplication. So in order to solve for C, we want to divide both sides by the 4 and the A and the B. And we can actually do this all in one step. I'm just going to divide here by 4AB. Notice that the 4's are going to cancel, the A's are going to cancel, the B's are going to cancel, and leave you with just one C, or just C, is equal to, now don't forget to do the same thing on the right-hand side. So 32 divided by, there's my 4AB. And now you want to look and see if you can simplify this in any way. The 32 and the 4, 32 divided by 4 is 8, so this can actually be simplified to 8 divided by AB. Now, example 3, we have A equals B plus C plus D, and we're asked to solve for B. You always want to keep track of what it is that you are solving for. That's going to make a huge difference in the way you go about solving the problem. So we have A equals B plus C plus D. You want to look at how is everything attached to B. And looking at this, it's addition. B plus C plus D, C and D are attached to B through addition. So in order to unadd C and D, we want to subtract them. So we're going to subtract C from both sides, and we're going to subtract D from both sides. So over here, we're going to subtract C, and we're going to subtract D. So on the left, we're going to have A minus C minus D equals B plus C minus C is 0, plus D minus D, that is 0. So we have isolated B. Now you really always want to write the variable that you have solved for on the left-hand side of the equation. So I'm just going to take one more step here and rewrite this B equals A minus C minus D. All right, this first one right here, this is correct. Let's write correct right there. This one right here is better. So this is going to be our final answer.